Jacob, home field has so much new stuff, especially for March and March Madness. They came in with new jerseys, like new retro jerseys, which are super, super cool. They always have the best stuff. I bought a home field shirt a couple years ago, and it still looks brand spanking new. And I got more home field stuff on the way. I absolutely cannot get enough of home field apparel.
If you're a NASCAR fan, actually, they have some throwback gear on their site too
Yeah.
right now. So tap in, home field. If you want to support the show, use code SQUARE at checkout. You get 15% off if you're a first-time orderer, or you get 10% off if this is if you're just a home field addict. That's code SQUARE at checkout. There's one company, Andy, that we trust to put our own merch out there into the world and who we firmly believe is coming on top this football season. That's elitesports.com. They support athletes directly. They make custom stuff for us and for them. So how could we not be on board?
We got friends who have bought the crew necks. I always wear my Elite Sports Squaring Around hat. Got to support the brand. Use code SQUARE at checkout for a 10% discount. Not too shabby. EliteSports.com. They support the athletes and they support us. So go support them.
Thanks for squaring. Let's talk about how you were actually invited to the carne asada. You were actually invited to a Mexican party. There's a lot of memes online of getting invited to the cookout, of getting invited to the carne asada for our Mexican friends. And Andy was actually there this past weekend with some of my friends from back home. So how was it, Andy, on the other side?
It was great. Oh, I had a great time, Jacob. I appreciate you for inviting me. We got to listen to Wave Files live for the first time.
My friend's band.
You did try to have me mosh. I'm not a big mosh guy. I like
you
to
were there.
Just
you were just
enjoy.
Like...
Yeah. I like to kind of just enjoy the music. I don't want to get like physically assaulted while doing it. But my favorite part of the time was that there was a time where I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I was the only white guy, and all the people at the table knew that too, and they were giving me shit. I enjoy that. I like it when it's like 15 against 1. It's where I feel the most comfortable.
That's so much fun. This was, as I mentioned last week, week 8 of an 8-week bender.
So are you done the bender now?
I don't know if I'm done because I still have some social obligations coming up, but it's whether or not you can string them together to truly be like, oh yeah, I tied one on, Like, I think if you just go out for drinks, that's not enough. That's just like, you're just going out. Like, it's, if you start counting that might be like, borderline alcoholism, or like not even that, an alcohol use disorder, which is defined as having more than like 6 drinks in like 3 or 4 consecutive days.
I know dudes who put a 24-pack down in like 3 days. So
hey, let me be the first to tell you, that's an alcohol use disorder.
I know some people who need to start going to some therapy.
Yeah, straight up. Well, at least be aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
Got to be aware of your actions and how they affect others. Let's start the show. Whatever.
Ole! Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squaring Around. My name's Jacob Rodriguez. That's the Texas State Sports Pros, Andrew Zimmel. And this is a show where we talk about everything Texas State. I mentioned on the previous episode, right? I've been on kind of La La Land for the past 2 months, pretty much resetting my body, recalibrating my mind for this upcoming football season. And I guess like baseball and softball, obviously in between that. It helped that we didn't have to cover basketball pretty much. So that's kind of why we were free as birds.
Oh, can I put a bow on basketball?
Yeah, interject for me. Oh, are you talking about the Paige Love thing?
Yes.
Yes.
So I get two. Okay. Well, there's Paige Love dissing Slam Magazine, which I get. But yesterday, folks in North Dakota texted me about how the JUCO college up there is doing. At the same time, Coach Love texted me that they were watching the team that I covered in North Dakota in Casper, Wyoming. So I thought that was kind of cool. Little worlds collide type of deal.
Andrew is watching talent. That's where we got to start our recruiting journey.
Last year, I met them when they were in Lubbock. This year, and they got a couple of players when they went to Lubbock. They picked up a couple of the players from
How'd
Blitz.
that help?
And they were okay. They got hurt, but
Yeah.
it was okay. I'm not gonna say that they didn't help this season. I thought that the recruiting of the JUCO transfer portal thing is important, but now they went to Casper, Wyoming, which I would argue is so much worse than Lubbock. I would say that is so much worse. So last year it was windy, it sucked. It's Lubbock, Texas, but it was like 50 degrees, and this time they're going up and it's like 30 and snowing. So shout out Coach Love, shout out Coach Z, and now we can transition into shout out Coach Z, who did not get love from Slam Magazine. Jacob, I give you the floor.
And then Coach Love decided to defend her homie, which included, and I quote, "Hey, W Slam, I am disappointed that our head coach here at Texas State women's basketball was left off this list. Zenarai Antoine, at Coach Z, all-time winningest coach at Texas State, 200 plus wins, at Sunbelt 2022-2023 Coach of the Year, not at 2023 Women or WOC Champions Award recipient, leader, trailblazer, mentor." If you look at the comments too, so this is the celebrating the Black D1 coaches. I don't know why this wasn't done in February. We're now in like late March.
Well, it's March Madness.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's Women's History Month.
Oh, so. Look, somebody responded too. "Hey, Paige, thanks so much for the message. It's so important that we show all coaches love. We've coach into the article and sincerely apologize." Oh, so they've since added Coach Z into the article. So that's cool. "Thank you for making this right." Wow. And apparently there was also 2 other head coaches from the Sun Belt who were listed. So, you know.
Yes, and that to me is the reason that Coach Love can, because at first I saw it and I was like, okay, well, let me click on the story, let me read. Like, I didn't, Dawn Staley's on there and a bunch of the other Black women's head basketball coaches across the country are listed in there, so it makes sense that Coach Love should be listed in there as well.
But this would go in your March Madness coverage and not your Black History Month coverage.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did you have something else to add for women's basketball? Because I have something to add for men's basketball.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say I was happy that Coach Love put on for her coach, because it's important, I think, not only for recruiting purposes, but I think it's just good for camaraderie too. That like your assistant coach is like stepping up for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And she's one of the best assistant coaches for sure in the Sun Belt. Would you argue?
Yes, for sure.
Around the country, it's been pretty crazy that Texas State's been able to keep her around for as long as they have.
I think it's great. She went to her alma mater and coached as a head coach over there for I think 2 seasons, right around the
Where was it?
It was I think it was Charlotte, but I'm not completely sure. You're gonna have to double check me and get research IT on that. But yeah, no, it was, I was happy that she put on for her. I have affinity towards Coach Love and Coach Z, so it's great.
Does not follow the podcast. You can though, at Squarin Pod. And just in case you don't follow us on the Twitter sphere or X, whatever, Elon Musk's is X, Grimes. We had a update late last week about Drew Drennan and Tyrell Morgan. They're officially going through the NCAA waiver process. We won't know their status for next year, but that story was broken officially when Colt McWilliams was last on here. And so I just texted the SID and was like, "Hey, is this true?" And he was like, "Yeah, but we won't really know their timeline."
Now, didn't Colton say that they were going to stay?
He said officially they were going to stay. So
okay, so
we can confirm unequivocally that they are going through the process. So we don't know if they're going to stay or not.
Okay, I just want to confirm that part, because you were like, "Oh, Colton McWilliams reported first." I was like, "In fact, I think this goes against his reporting, doesn't it?" Now, technically, he's right until they leave. Like you can go in the transfer portal.
That's what he meant, though.
Okay, I don't know about that, but all right, that's fine. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt too. You get one of those a month, so this is his for the month of March.
Reset. Dang, that's pretty good if you do it right now, because then you can start off.
It rolls over in April. Oh yeah. He needs to pick his spots when it comes to this benefit of the doubt. So he gets this one. He gets it today.
Okay.
Hopefully next week he'll get another one next week. But
pretty good.
Yeah. Just don't use them consecutively, because if it's next week and we're recording this podcast and we're like, well, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt like Don't waste the first week of April.
Not wasted first week of April.
Okay, so they go in the transfer portal. We've seen this happen a couple other times where like guys dip their toe in and then come back. Famously, the Iowa offensive tackle, I think, didn't he? He said he was going to go to Alabama. He came back to Iowa, got some money, and then went back. I don't know. I don't think that's the case with NIL happening right now, but I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the current system, Jakey. I don't like that people can kind of like come and go as they please. I'd like you to confirm or reject Texas State.
Well, and you're talking specifically about how this affects the basketball team right now, because there's like, I guess the entire like 3 of the best 5 of the starting 5 are in the transfer portal now. Drew Drinnen and Tyrell Morgan are not a part of that group because, as I mentioned, they're in like the waiver application part of this whole deal. But Davion Sykes, who else? That was probably the biggest one. Or no?
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Would you say that our jobs, me doing radio, you're doing TV, are things that people want to do? When you talk to people, they say like, "Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that."
You know, sometimes when I feel really bad about myself and my position in life, I forget that this is actually somebody else's dream. Yeah.
Right. So I think about like college coaching. It's never been harder. Would you agree?
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
I wonder when that starts to change, or
But-
if it does.
but
Like,
here's
where
the
people are like,
caveat.
I don't really want to do this anymore.
Here's the caveat. Is it harder to be Kirby Smart or like Guy from Last Chance U, you know, and like all the things that come with that? Like, you know, like working the portal, like working with all of these things that are now like a coach has to deal with at like one level versus another level.
Well, so Terrence Johnson versus Rodney Terry, right? Because
Exactly.
Rodney Terry is
Yeah.
up the road. Okay.
Mhm.
I just don't like, I mean, I don't know if it's, and this is not me like taking a shot at the players or anything else like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's, you know, they have every right to do what they want. I just think that like, it's really hard.
How's your bracket doing, by the way? I mean, I assume you have multiple. I only have one because it's just one bracket, one pick'em league or whatever.
So I made 6, and then I have 2 women's brackets. And
okay, I wanted to make a women's one, and I couldn't figure out how to do it, and then I ran out of time.
So the women's ones are doing okay, but the men's ones are all over the place. Like I have one where I'm like at 55%. I joined a bunch of the ESPN different leagues where it's like ESPN Radio, First Take fans, like those. And in all of those, I am firmly in the middle of the pack. So there's like millions of people who are in those, and I'm like number 3,500, right? So I'm doing okay in some. I'm doing dog shit in others. Women was a little bit easier because I picked Texas along, Iowa along, UConn along, and like those to me are like a little bit more easy, but I'm missing all the time. So I'm not doing super well.
What's the school that's fucked you over the most?
Ooh,
Because I got one. I got one for sure.
Virginia for sure. TCU for sure. Those 2 off the rip.
Down.
Yeah.
I got BYU and Baylor. Oh,
Mm.
as soon as those guys stopped hitting. And then I was listening to my fucking friends at the station. They were like, "Man, you got to tap in. St. Mary's is going to be crazy this year." Shut up. You know, watch out. Marquette's insane, you know. So, yeah, it has not gone my way really this year. We're in Zimmel and I are in a friend group of ours bracket thing. That's the one I made.
That one too.
Made mine in there. And for some reason, our friend Danny, who's the one who hosted it, his girlfriend is like number 2 or number 1. And as a sports writer, it really hurts my feelings when people are better than me at things, especially this shit. Because it's like, I know she doesn't watch college basketball. How is she picking these games right?
Ever since I did a league in high school where it was everybody in the class and it was a coach that was teaching the class, and then there was a female teacher's assistant who cared nothing about sports. Ever since, it was like sophomore year, ever since she won, I have not cared. I've been like, all right, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm okay. Whatever.
But this is what pissed me off about it specifically. It's Danny's girlfriend, right? And then under her is like, it's like 1, and then 2 is friend, hard name on the podcast, drop a name on the podcast, is her friend right underneath her. So I'm like, oh, now there's two that are better
that's
than
tough.
me.
I do want to say this though. We joked about it one time about like, why is your girlfriend not your co-owner of your fantasy football team? And
it turns out it worked out for the best for me.
It worked out for the best. Worked out for the best.
And yeah,
tomorrow's
and that's exactly why you don't do that shit.
Tomorrow's opening day for baseball,
Yes.
and we didn't do fantasy baseball for the second year in a row.
Well, you were all salty because you lost. Brendan won. I got second place for the first time, our first iteration. But there was only like 8 of us in that league.
Yeah.
So,
next year we're gonna
do like a 20-person league.
No, 12-person American League only. That's what we're gonna do next year.
That's kind of far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just got lucky because there was so many. There's fantasy baseball is so easy. I feel because there's so much good talent all around. So if you limit it to one, division,
Yeah,
it'd be good. Yeah,
I think that's the way to do it.
or conference, whatever it is.
League,
American
League and National
There you
League.
go. Yeah. Okay. As you guys know, if you're watching the video stream, at least I'm wearing a football jersey right now, so we're talking football, baby. My biological clock is ticking. I can feel something in the air. It is football season, baby edition, at least in the springtime. At the time of recording this podcast, we are 16-ish days out. Once this podcast comes out, we'll be like T-minus 15 days from the spring game, April 13th.
Now, I'll say this about the spring game. There's two different types of fan. There's the fan that cares and the fan that doesn't. And we clearly are the fan that cares.
Mhm.
But if you're the fan that does not care about the spring game, I will go out and can I plead the case for the spring game?
Go ahead,
I think it matters.
Yeah.
The reason the spring game matters is because the last time we saw this Texas State team, they were beating the dog piss out of Rice.
Mhm.
And since then, it's been a new quarterback. We lost the best receiver potentially. A couple of guys are going to the league. A couple of guys are going to the USFL. Like this to me
Who
is.
do you think's going to the league?
We'll wait on that.
A couple guys going to the USFL.
Dad's going to pro day, and I'm curious to see.
He already went. Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
I'm
curious.
It was right after we basically recorded last week.
Mhm.
It was like last Thursday, I think.
I haven't got to talk to him yet, but the plan is that at some point we're gonna discuss and be like, who's gonna go under? Because Aaron Brewer has been in the league forever.
So yeah, maybe potentially a couple guys going to the league. I don't know. But you're right. Aaron Brewer's been in the league for forever, and people were throwing a fucking fit about him going to the Titans.
But we didn't know when he got. What was he undrafted? He was undrafted free agent when he got signed by the Titans. When he got signed, it was kind of like, okay, I didn't think he was going to last. I thought maybe a couple practice squads, but he has really found staying power in the league, and that's a testament to him. And there's a couple of guys I think, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That could maybe make something happen. I'd be curious to see if we put Ashton Hawkins' photo up when he gets drafted, because he's going to Baylor. I think that's going to help his profile a little bit, but does he get a photo on the wall at the end of the time when it comes to like, hey, league or Bobcats in the league? You know what I mean?
I'm telling you right now, if they have a competent quarterback, Ashton Hawkins is going to ball out next year in Jake Spavital's offense with Dave Aranda coaching for his job potentially.
He was in the offense before and it didn't work. So
but that's the thing. Okay, so people talk about this the whole time, right? Like why, and Big Thad even talked about this last week on our show on Republic of Football Network. But like that, the quarterback and the wide receivers are on two different worlds basically, as far as like what routes they were running or, the spread tempo bullshit. How hard is that to get on the right page? Because if I can figure it out in NCAA or Madden, how come nobody else can figure it out?
I will use not a personal anecdote, but something that I heard another better receiver say. And that was Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman said that a lot of those route trees, and you talk about the quarterback and the trust and, what to run and what times. He's talking about with Tom Brady. It took him like 3 years to get on the same page with Tom Brady, because Brady, hey, if the safety is in this position, I need you to run this type of route versus that type of route out of the route tree. And it took Jules 3 years to figure it out.
But that's like Julian Edelman comparing himself directly to Wes Welker,
But also Randy Moss, but also Ocho Cinco, but all,
he's surrounded by Hall of Famers, essentially, while he's taking these snaps.
Well, yeah, there's that. But also, I just think like when you talk about college receivers, and for the longest time, TCU and Baylor were the two in the mid 2010s that were the worst about this, that there was not a route tree. It was literally like, okay, if the safety is in this position, you're running a fade. And if they're in this position, you're running an under. And if they're in this position, it's a flag route. Like there was like three options. And then those guys go to the league and they suck. And then the Big 12 offense spread to the SEC and the Pac 12 and the Big 10. And then there's a ton of receivers who were really good in college that go to the league and stink. So,
yeah. I mean, there are very
now,
few like CD Lambs, right? Where you'd get drafted out of college and then you're immediately like an impact player, potentially one of the best wide receivers in.
so
all
let's
of the
stop
league.
that. Let's pause.
Okay, who the fuck else did that in the last 2
Justin
years?
Jefferson,
Okay,
Jamar
yeah.
Chase.
I'm just saying,
I
there's
mean,
very few because there's
very
32.
few. I would not put CD Lamb in those conversations. That's beside the point.
Hey, Lamb
The
is
point-
not in the conversation. He led all-purpose
No.
yards last year.
The point of this is that the offenses in college football have upgraded a little bit to be closer to the NFL, or the NFL, you could say backslid to be more like college. Either way,
Yes.
I think receivers can run better routes in the Big 12 now. Ashton Hawkins is going to go, and I'm hoping that in year one he really balls out because it would be cool for him to do it. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Well, had BYU and Baylor not completely fucked my bracket, I was about to get on here and say the Big 12 is no longer a football school because Texas is leaving, It's a basketball
conference. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they are, because Arizona, who is joining the Big 12 next year, is incredible. So, you know what I mean? Like, let's,
Shout out Gilbert Arenas.
shout out Arizona. My coworker, Michael Board.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
There you go.
Wildcat.
There we go. Oh, we didn't even talk about this as it relates to basketball. Jalen Sheed's little brother, Jamal Sheed, is balling out of control at Houston. Did you see that
Oh
one
my God,
coming?
yes.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. Houston. Are you one of those people? So, a little background. My dad, not originally from Texas, moves to Texas, teaches us. You just root for the Texas school. If
Your
A&M
mom,
is playing,
a CIA agent, they
yeah, WVU fan, so it doesn't really work now in the Big 12. But like originally, it was like if Baylor is playing Oklahoma, you root for Baylor. If TCU is playing Arizona State, you root for TCU. Like it doesn't matter, you just root for Texas. Are you like that in the March Madness bracket when it comes to the Texas teams?
Fuck no, dude.
Really?
Hell no. I give a shit about one school, and that's Texas State. They put up with me. They believed in me. That's the school I ride or die for. And we don't make the damn tournament. So there's not a lot for me to root for.
So you don't root for Houston. You're not like, oh, it would be nice to see Houston win the tournament.
They're my pick. So yes, I am rooting for them because that's the only thing that will save my dog shit bracket is them winning so I can move up into the medium position now.
But let's say in previous years, Texas Tech was really good. Baylor's been good before. You don't care. You're just
Hell
like,
no.
I don't.
When they were like burning down Lubbock, I was like, I don't care. Who cares about Lubbock? Baylor was pretty cool for a while. When they played on that like elevated court, that was just a weird game. I feel like that would throw off my depth perception if the court was like raised, That was the Tex year. When Texas went on that run last year, that was kind of cool because like Rodney Terry, and like the whole story behind him and the Chris Beard situation. I get wrapped up into narratives, I guess,
Okay.
Yeah, but Jalen Sheed's little brother, that's kind of fun to root for.
I'm the opposite. I root for whatever Texas team is playing. So I'm rooting for Houston. I'm rooting for all the other Texas tools.
I'll tell you what, it was really cool. I did get to watch the entire Houston and A&M game, and I knew A&M was going to bring it, man, because they're kind of a sleepy school in the first place.
For basketball,
maybe that's because I edit a lot of Cravens deals now for A&M, and so I'm just like proxy Aggie, I guess, mind controlled, or what is it called, brainwashed.
You join the cult for a football school for Texas A&M that has mostly cared about football. Their basketball and men's baseball, but their baseball program has been pretty good. So they're not just a football. And honestly, if I was them, cut the football program, focus on the things you're good at.
Did I ever tell you that at this party I went to, this is, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago, it was our senior year of college when COVID was literally right before the world shut down, for Emily Hall's birthday party. I met the heiress to the Blue Belt Empire.
Yes, you told me the story.
It's crazy. And so I've run into her several times since then. And every time I'm just like, wow, she has the keys to Aggie Park. She has the keys to like everything in college, Bryan College Station, because that's where Blue Belt's based out of. So her and her family are huge Aggies. But every time I get to interact with her, it's crazy.
They Couldn't do that in Austin. Land's too expensive.
Yeah.
They
And
can't afford the
everybody's
corporate.
wondering, is Jacob now dating the heiress of the Bluebell Empire? I
No.
can confirm I am not. So sorry, guys. Bringing Bluebell to San Marcos. JK. No, she's really nice. So
No, just blue balls.
Peace and blessings.
That was pretty.
Anyway, my biological clock is ticking. Spring game is approaching. I am headed to spring practice this week on Saturday to check out the team for the first time. I'll get to check them out for literally like 2 hours while I'm waiting for sound. They're only going to let me shoot B-roll and team versus team action for like 30 minutes. And then I just get to bake in the sun for like 2 hours while I wait for sound from GJ Kinney. Last week we got
more than 30 minutes of B-roll.
We got our first official sound from GJ Kinney. Maybe I'll throw a little package together for all of this too and be like, in a world where the first responders bowl champions are back and everybody thinks we're going to be Sunbelt Conference favorites. Last week we got our first sound back from GJ Kinney.
I like the feel of the team. I thought we worked well for the most part together. We don't have pads on, but I thought the guys worked well together, especially O-line, D-line. A lot of stuff that we got to continue to get better at because we do have so many new faces. But I thought it was good. I thought the new coaches handled, the schedule well and kind of getting on the same page with everyone. And I thought today was a really good day. I think we got a chance to be a really good team. Based off what was out there today.
A lot of coach speak, a lot of like, we look pretty good out there. A lot of this is the first day kind of deal. So we were talking about the impact of the spring stuff overall. What is your like overall thinking for the springtime stuff? Is it just like getting out there, getting loose, getting to see sort of the future, but like not truly implementing everything, or what is it?
Most important, health. Everybody's got to come out of the spring healthy. We don't need anybody getting hurt. We don't need somebody straining a quad or, breaking a hand or anything like that. The spring is literally just for like, get better, get healthy, get the playbook. And then that leads into playbook. I need to see these guys start executing. You don't want to start the season back at square one. What worked in 2023?
With this offense, with a lot of these players, with it being their second year, is it more just fine tuning now instead of compared to last year where like they're learning an entire new playbook?
I think just this day and age in college football and new faces and all that, like every year and every offseason is going to be different and new faces. So we really started from the beginning and that's what we're going to do anyways, whether we had new faces or not, or the same guys. So I thought we've handled that well, and I don't think we could play a game yet because of special teams, but offensively and defensively feel pretty good about where we're at.
What can we take into 2024? You have a new quarterback. You're going to have a new offensive line. You're going to have new defensive pieces. It's very important for the guys who were on the team last year to help the guys who are going to be new this year and pick up right where they left off. Because you talked to Big Thad, we've joked about it. 12-0 is not an unrealistic expectation. Like it's something that I think a lot of fans would be over the moon about, but it's also technically possible. Like I don't think it's impossible for Texas State to go at least run the table in conference play. But that only happens if everybody's healthy and if the playbook is important. So I'd say that's the two most important things of the spring.
Looking at the quarterbacks, I know you talked about a little bit about Jordan McLeod, but we got PJ Hatter and Brad Jackson. Just how have all three quarterbacks kind of developed during this week? Yeah,
I'll start with PJ. He's been here the longest out of those guys, and obviously PJ is super talented. You saw that in high school. He's a dynamic runner. I think this year on scout team, he really opened some eyes and on kind of what he's capable of, and he's got a strong arm. He can make the wild plays. He can do everything that we need him to do to go out there and win ball games. So been very pleased with him, kind of where he's at. Brad, for a guy that should be in like pre-algebra right now and like getting ready and for the prom here in a couple of weeks, the guy is unbelievable. He operates like a senior. He's got a big time arm. He can run. both of those guys are really, really talented. And that's why you got to recruit Texas high school kids and develop them and get them here, because when you get guys like Brad and PJ, it's a game changer. And they're just our guys. They've only been with us. They've only been to Texas State. They haven't been to this school, this school, this school. They've just been to Texas State, and you can see the development, and you can see every day just them continuing to get better. And both of those guys are big-time players, and really excited to have both of those guys. And then McLeod, very similar to Brad for a guy that's just now getting here, being able to operate at a really high level. I think the thing that stands out to me the most about him is his touch. He really is. He's like a point guard, man. He just like gets the ball out on time. He knows exactly where to go with the ball. I mean, he's made some wild throws already. This short amount of time we've been together, he's made some throws that are just unbelievable. Receivers don't break stride, and a lot of catch and run opportunities with him. That's one thing that's really stood out to me, is I think because he does throw such a catchable ball and he's accurate, a lot of ability to catch and run, where receivers not having to do this, do that. He's able to hit it in stride and go. I would say the deep ball is his strength. The intermediate ball we're still working on. Just because the tempo and the wide splits, the RPO throws, the short, quick game stuff, I think he's got to continue to get better there. But as far as being a veteran and a pro and knowing where to go with the football and checking the ball down, and man, he's the player of the year, I guess, in the conference for a reason. I mean, the dude is pretty unbelievable.
Health and playbook.
Have a favorable schedule too. So
Mm-hmm.
I've said it before, but I think into week 5, Texas State will be 4-0. Should be, at least.
Even with Arizona State, you don't care
Exactly.
that you don't care it's Power 5. Okay.
We're playing them at home, No.
Yeah.
I think if we get first 2 games, the second game is UTSA. If that game goes well for us and we finally break the damn streak and they can stop printing those fucking 5-0 shirts, first of all, we might own Alamo Audible financially after that show. And then secondly, I think it'll just be like a huge, come out, And it's a Thursday game too, though, so that might impact things. It's a Thursday night game. Man, the square's going to be on fire that night. And then I think the damn debate, if they do debate, is like the next day or something like that, or the day before.
Yes. Well, you work in news. I work in news. I've been hearing a lot that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
well, don't they have to have one according to the Constitution or something like that?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think
I've not read the Constitution in a while.
If they can get away with it, I don't think they're going to do any. But that's for a different show.
That's so stupid. Anyway, I think last year, it was like the first spring game I had reported on in like 2 years. Because let's be honest, it didn't fucking matter before this. Like there was no like players to look at, or there was no like offensive scheme we were really raring to go see. So we would show up and get jerseys and stuff, which I'm wearing right now. But last year they ran a lot of like offensive specific positions, like from the 30 out, from the 40 out, from the 50 out, and the different ways to like take shots down the field, different things like that. I think that confused a lot of people, because if you were just tuning in to the broadcast, you're like, what the hell is going on in the field? These guys are just talking. They're just having a podcast while this game's going on. And then every now and then they'll be like, wow, Joey Hobart right there. So it's something you definitely have to see to believe. And last week, Big Thad was telling us that overall, as a program, they're trying to make this like an event for alumni, for current and former students to come to the football field and just see the product that's on the field, which I think is probably the most important part from marketing and branding perspective.
And the one thing that they always do that they never publicize, but we blow it up every year. They sell the old jerseys. They sell the old stuff. The Jacob was wearing the jersey right now. If you can watch the podcast on YouTube, I have bought Brady McBride's jersey there. I bought a Nigel Pearson jersey.
I got a Mason Hill jersey last year.
I got a Mason Herald jersey. So like, if you're somebody who wants to get a jersey to put up on your wall, not a bad stop. Now, granted, a lot of these jerseys not the greatest, but also
you can definitely tell kind of these are definitely game worn. I mean, there's holes on the grid.
Yeah, ripped up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's a huge stain right here. You can't get that one out. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the spring game. We're starting to see some of our first looks. Like the creative team is out there, and so we got to see a Jordan McLeod to Joey Hobart pass. That looked pretty good. There's still people who are watching the live stream of construction happening. If that camera was just pointed just a fraction of an inch to the left end zone, we could see a little bit of practice, but it's not.
They did a good job.
So
about
maybe when
that.
I get out there, I'll ratchet it over. No, but it'll be fun to be out there with the team and see everything going on. Meantime, in the springtime stuff, baseball's doing good. Not getting sweeps though. They went out to James Madison, got the series win, did not get the sweep. Hosted App State the weekend before, got the win, did not get the sweep. This weekend's huge for them. They're coming off of a win from UTRGV, the Vaqueros. They put up 12 runs against their 6 last night. And then they're hosting Louisiana, Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns.
Ooh,
coming back
those bastards.
San Marcos, yeah. So the first game's on Friday. Saturday, I will be there also because I'll just be there for the springtime stuff anyway. So I thought I'd fade the game.
Let's talk baseball. We've seen enough games.
Ooh, first CG from Sam Hall. Complete game thrown.
I want to talk pitching because as you may or may not know, I'm a big deal everywhere, but I'm a big deal right now doing a lot of UT baseball, getting into their bullshit, right? And the conversation with everybody over there has been they did not focus on pitching enough. Do you think that Trout focused on pitching when it comes to bringing in? Because I've always felt like that's something that Texas State has underrated when it comes to like team building. Like there's years, especially with Ty Harrington, where like the pitching staff was really, really good, but the bats weren't really there. And then recently it feels like the bats have been incredible, but we're winning games like 7-5, 7-6. Do you think this year we finally have it all together? We've won a ton of games by a lot of runs, but also the pitching seems to finally be like coming around.
Yes, to answer your question, yes. I think they did focus on pitching when it comes to the transfer portal. We've talked about guys like Sam Hall, Taylor C. But then the guys that we already had, Peyton Zabel and Jack Stroud, we haven't seen a lot. So it's like something that they focused on, but it's still yet to be seen. I think it's going to be kind of like a slow burn situation as we get deeper into the season. Like Sam Hall just had like a crazy game. That's going to be good. Once Peyton Zabel kind of figures it out, he'll be fine too. We also lost, like, I thought one of a really great pitcher, Nate Medrano last year. He just kind of aged out. So, you know, but this core is very young, so they've still, you know, they're getting it together. And Chase Mora, by the way, lied to our podcast last year because he has not thrown a single game yet.
Oh, come on. He doesn't
He told
know.
us he was going to do it.
He said he was going to, but you know, that's not his decision. He can feel like he's
we also need to get Trouty on too. I'm staring at this list of everybody we need to have on.
Your wish list?
Yes, my wish list. And I cannot wait to get some of these people on. What the hell is this list? I'm going to be really pissed if I threw this one away. Damn it. Whatever. But yeah, no, we have a bunch of interviews coming. And so I'm super excited to get Trouty on, Coach Woodard on, of course, Jessica Mullins, Sarah Vanderford for their last ride. They're, by the way, segue, doing amazing too, receiving votes like all over the place. They're getting ranked in different polls left and right.
All right,
Jessica
let's
Mullins
talk
is winning
about
every
it.
damn award in the Sun Belt pretty much.
At this point, I think that if she doesn't win pitcher of the year, like the way that her season has started, you don't want to say like, okay, it started this well, like how far can it go? She has looked like the best pitcher in the Sun Belt. She looks like a top 25 pitcher in the country. I don't think there's any debate. All right. So 2 days ago, they put out Softball America, put out their top 25. Texas State was voted 17th. Now, they are the highest ranked Sun Belt school, which means they now have officially a target on their back. There is no other Sun Belt school in the top 25 voted on by the Softball America. Now, again, publication, whatever you want to say, I put a little bit of credence into it. I care a little bit about it. But I look at some of these other schools that are ahead of them. So Oklahoma, number one, totally makes sense. National champions, get it. Texas is two. Hey, they have a really good softball program. I think if you ask Kat Osterman if they're a 15 spot difference between Texas and Texas State, I don't think she would agree with that. I think that she would agree that like that's a little bit too much, which leads me to this point. I think that a blind resume test, you took the names, you took the conferences, you just went off of the power, your opponents who you've played, what their numbers look like, and what you have done. I think Texas State is a top 15 team or at least a top 15 team, maybe top 12.
Yeah. They're
This
fringe teens for sure. I think so too.
fringe teams, and that is crazy to think. Ricky Woodard has done a great job. All the Texas State coaches, for the most part, outside of football, have stuck around. They find success. They stick around. The question is now, you win games. What are the expectations?
Mhm.
If the expectation now is to win the Sun Belt, which I think is a very doable thing, I think that this is a team that should be competitive come postseason. I know it's early,
like
but
it.
that's what I'm saying right now is that I think Jessica deserves. I don't think she will win. I think she deserves national votes for Player of the Year, for Pitcher of the Year type of stuff. Like,
No, yeah, for sure.
not-
If you take her away, we do not have the season we're having now.
And I'm not
We have a
saying
lot
that
of
she
hot
just-
bats, but we're losing a lot
Yes.
of close games.
I'm not just saying she deserves to win Pitcher of the Year. She's going to win it for the Sun Belt. I'm talking nationally. She deserves to get votes. She deserves a national recognition.
As reported by Colton McWilliams last week, she had a Jordan-esque game where she was apparently sick and then still threw and still had a crazy game last week.
Yeah, okay. I
You don't take any stock in that?
I don't, the Jordan-esque stuff.
Jordan-esque.
Whatever. We're done now. We were done with the 90s. Now this is the one thing I'm a little disappointed that we waited to the final year to have a signature move. Like, maybe she's been doing this the whole time and we're just
so.
dumb and we weren't paying attention.
You just don't
and
watch women's sports?
We
Is
just
that
don't
the-
watch women's sports like
'Cause
that.
I've seen
I
it
don't
this
know.
year for sure.
I've seen it, yeah.
I want to say it was last year too because I watched the NCAA tournament.
So then I think the social media team over there needs to do a better job because it's a signature look. It looks great. It looks cool. And I have joked with you. I said, we need to throw the middle finger up with that and just get it on t-shirts and call it, Jessica thugging or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, Do-Rag Jessica.
Do-Rag Jessica. Yeah. Where's that at? Where's that Twitter account at? Do-Rag Jessica. Come on, get that
Shout
together.
out Do-Rag Trouty. Shout out Do-Rag.
Oh, it's the worst.
That's so funny. And they all follow Squarin around. So shout out.
Oh, well, thank you.
Welcome to the
Thank you
Quattro
for
Corners
supporting.
Cartel, everybody.
Oh my God, this is the worst name. Triple C's.
Triple C. Throw them up, baby. I want to edit her doing that with like Canelo Alvarez going, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck. It's my night.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
This is such an interesting podcast.
Yes, it is. It's Cameron and Mexican Mace. Killer was good, man. I just bought Paid in Full on I've been watching so many movies, specifically from 1991 to 2005. It's a very specific category. of
What a
movies.
weird. Okay,
Last
whatever.
week, I was really into the Kingdom of Heaven, the story of the Leper King, King Baldwin IV.
When I was 16, I won a great victory. I felt in that moment I would live to be 100. Now I know I shall not see 30.
You're a strange
When I was
little
16,
man.
I won a great battle, and I thought in that moment I would live to be 100. Now I know I will not live to see 30.
What a cut.
This is what I've been doing as I've not been really routinely covering the team.
why you
But
haven't
I'm telling
been
you, I'm
scheduling
refocused. This is my time.
Scheduling as guests. You've been watching Kingdom of Heaven instead of getting a Trout on the pod. All right.
I did
Good
have
stuff.
that.
Good stuff.
Yeah. No, we have guests coming. Look, I finally found the sticky too. So, whoa. Jerry Jones right now.
Yeah.
Showing everybody our draft list. That's
Just
funny.
scribbles.
It's just scribbles. Oh, hey. Did you see Lenny Kravitz was at Buc-ee's?
In New Braunfels?
No, it was one in Florida.
Oh, fuck. Why do I care about that? What?
What? No, you don't like it?
I don't know.
The amount of middle-aged women that were like, "Oh my God, he's so sexy." I was like, "Hey, that's my guy,
He is
Lenny
pretty
Kravitz
hot.
from Entourage." Lenny Kravitz.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the bit that I love the most, where you reference somebody by their lowest credit, where it's like Christopher Walken's from Peter Rabbit. It's like, okay, got you.
You don't
Yeah,
like the Kingdom of Heaven thing that I did earlier?
I thought it was
Edward
funny.
Norton's best role.
The whole world is in chess. Any move can be the death of you. Do anything except remain where you started, and you cannot be sure of your end. Were you sure of your end once?
No, come
Kingdom of
on.
Heaven.
Come
King
on.
Bob Fourth, baby.
Have you seen Rounders?
No, I haven't seen Rounders.
Oh, Jacob, you got to see Rounders.
Really? Is it
With
was
him
it
and
made
Matt Damon?
between 1991 and 2005?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. What?
Is that the poker one?
Yes.
Oh,
It's
okay.
so
Yeah, I've seen
good.
clips, but I haven't seen it.
It's so
Cool.
good. We were arguing this morning, me and my coworker Charlie Parker, name drop, about
Name drop.
Heat, the movie Heat. And I was saying, me and my buddies love Heat. Buddies meaning you love Heat. And he was like, "Well, it's kind of overrated." I was like, "Well, really?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a long movie." I'm like, "Is it that long?" I feel like it's a pretty good movie. I feel like it's pretty action packed. But I guess he's not a big fan of the cat and mouse game.
It's so far. Oh, 1998 Rounders.
Yeah.
Fire got Matt Damon. That's my boy.
Dude, yeah, Matt Damon and Edward Norton. I think that's Edward Norton's best role. I'm a big fan.
Have you seen the new Roadhouse yet?
No, because everybody tells me it's really bad.
I'm trying to have a watch party with the boys. That's a supreme guy time movie.
That's really awkward because I heard the only people who've given it good reviews are girls and gays. Every other person
It must be pretty good because that's the category of guys they're not trying to get.
This is made
for the UFC fan, the common UFC fan who wants to see Conor McGregor take back 2 belts, which he's never going to do. He's going to take back 1, maybe.
I don't think he'll pass the drug test.
No, well, for sure will not. Everybody's been like, "Oh, he's just on steroids." Everybody, USADA's not
steroids. I think
Apparently,
he's on coke.
This is how it works. You have to not take a fight for 2 years, and then they stop drug testing you completely. So now this guy's just yoked out of control. And if you watch the press tour that he did for this movie, everybody's asking him about his next fight, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got a ring, I've got a full size ring out my front porch, and I just been going out. I've had 6 straight fights."
I was talking about, again, coworker, this time a younger one. And he's talking about Connor. And we pulled up when he broke his leg.
Yes.
We're like,
I saw that shit live.
Yeah.
Second guy that year, I think I saw dangle their foot on national television. The first one being Dak Prescott.
Wasn't it Alex Smith, too?
Oh, yeah. That's another one where he almost died.
No.
And then he came back the next year and hated his family.
Yeah. The competitive juices you have to be a pro athlete, I think, outweigh how much you love your family.
Because the next stage is just trying to have the best podcast for all those guys. And then streaming with Twitch.
No, I don't know. Tom Brady this year on Fox is going to be really interesting. I think that if somebody was smart, here's what they would do. They would have all of the color analysts ranked. So Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, Tom Brady, and every week you'd start your show on Monday being like just a short, it doesn't have to be a long segment, just like a short, like, here's the power rankings, and boom, boom, boom. It's Tony, it's Troy, and be like, this is where they sit right now. And then just all year, just move them around. Be like, Troy had a really good call on 4th down, but he really fumbled it, earlier, but move him down. I think that'd be really good content.
That would be fun. I mean, last year it was reported that like CBS really took Tony Romo aside and was like, "Hey, you have to start fucking knowing what the hell you're talking about."
Well, you heard why. It's because he was playing golf.
Yeah. He was dicking around. And he's amazing at it.
Well, golf, yeah.
Golf.
He skipped, from my understanding, from what I heard, he skipped like 2 or 3 of the like analysts. So it's usually the play-by-play and color guy who are talking to like the quarterback, the best defensive player, and the coach, right? That's normally how it goes. And I guess Tony just skipped out. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that," and like missed it for like 4 weeks.
That's fire. This was what was brought up last week at Media Day, or after the fact, once the video came out. I want to say it was some sort of like Texas State account online, but they were like, "Where's Kef? Do we have a reporter who's on the ground? Do we have blah, 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 blah.
Shout out Colton."
And I said, "Did Colton McWilliams die or something? What the fuck?"
Also, your U-Star babies.
Yeah, my U-Star babies are over there. Your KTSW little babies are over there.
Are they? I don't know.
No,
I'm an absentee father with that group.
Dude, the last regular season game in the booth, somebody in the KTSW corner brought over like one of their friends or something. And I just heard the commotion of them getting kicked out of the press box. And I was like, "What the hell is going on behind me?" But yeah, there's just some rando that was in the press box and didn't have a pass or anything. You and me can walk around there without a pass.
That's
People know us.
insane. That's
But
tough. That's a tough look.
some
I was
rando.
telling
Yeah.
I was telling our friend Larry Carlson the other day. I said that I had a dream that I was old, like old, like not 30 old. I'm talking like 60s, 70s old, and I was running KTSW. That I was the person who was like Dan Schumacher, like the person who was like doing the day to day. And he was like, "You don't want that." And I was like, "I don't know if I do or not." It was. I remember sitting there being like, "Why am I stressed out about what college kids are doing on the radio?" Like this is
something that I'm very uniquely skilled for is to take over like a newspaper, like be the advisor for a newspaper.
Oh, at a university, yeah.
Yeah, like be the faculty advisor for a student newspaper or something. Because I was the editor in chief.
Could you do that with no newspaper experience in like the real world?
Yeah, for sure. Because you just need to be a media professional. Like you don't need, and also that's my background is print. Like I'm a journalism.
Not anymore.
I don't have a broadcast degree. It's just something I taught myself.
Not anymore. I would say your background now is in broadcast journalism, buddy. Welcome to the big leagues.
Sure. No. Well, yeah. It's this only the thing I've done. But I go where the money is. So whoever wants to offer me my next big contract, I'll do that shit too.
It won't be newspapers.
Actually, dude, those guys make more than me over here.
Yeah, when they're like 70.
Yeah. Well,
what young journalist is making more money
University Star alumni told me how much she makes over here. She makes more than me.
How long has she been working?
2 years. 2 years. To my 4.
And what did she do? Copy edit?
No. She's a reporter. Yeah. Jacob. What? I didn't do this.
That's
you think
tough.
I'm looking? Oh, let me see where I can get paid the least. No.
I do that.
Yeah, you do that.
I do that. I'm like, if I get paid less, the government can take less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big I need to do my taxes actually too. But you're a big income tax economy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
for
huge,
sure.
by the way.
Which is for sure. No, let me tell you about the income tax. You either need to make a ton of money or no money. And that's the way they get you.
Yes.
You can't be middle class.
No, you cannot be middle class.
Or gamble and just in fact,
that's how I supplement my income.
This
actually,
is a little
during the football season.
That's a bad idea. But here's a little bit of a whatchamacallit?
Behind the kitchen door.
A trick that you folks at home that are doing your taxes can do. You can write off gambling losses. So here's what I would suggest that you do. Go to whatever horse track is near you and pick up the losing tickets. Pick up all the losing tickets. Okay. And then deduct those. Problem solved.
Dude, I went out here to Retama Racetrack with Tristan last year, and the most degenerate gamblers I've ever seen in one. They were guys sweating bets for their house. It was crazy at 2 p.m. on a Thursday.
It's the best.
It was crazy. So if you're in town, Church Selma area, Retama Racetrack, can't recommend it more. It's a good time, actually.
I can't recommend it less.
Do not get the burger, though, because I definitely had a bone in there. I guess it was a horse that did not perform the week before. And we are not sponsored by Shirt Selma Retama Racetrack, by the way. Yeah, it's a good time. That's also happening in the spring. There's a bunch of stuff going on. That's why it's so fun to have things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. The Fiesta. Are you going to be
Fiesta,
out there?
dude?
Are you going to be the ugly king?
Yeah, Ray Feo. Yeah, dude, there's so much stuff going on. It's so fun. That actually kicks off in less than a month now.
Yeah.
So April 18th, I think, is the kickoff date for Fiesta. I'm on call the first weekend of Fiesta, which sucks. And I think I also have concert tickets, but I need to get somebody to take my on call somewhere.
That's not going to happen.
Weekend 2, baby.
Nobody's going to take your on call. You're going to have to cut this part out. There's a lot of Zimmel that you've left on the cut. You can leave on the cutting room floor in this podcast.
A lot of Zimmel on the cutting room floor.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But we're back in springtime action, baby. That's basically the whole impetus of this podcast, because I woke up last week and I was like, "Ooh, it's go time. We got to start churning and burning over here." But I think honestly, we've been pretty good for off-season content as of late.
Well, we're the only podcast that puts out weekly content.
So true. Oh, this is what I was going to say about the whole media shit, by the way. I'm very defensive about when anybody brings up the media corps, because those are our boys. We came up with all this group. When anybody online says anything, I'm like, hey, Pipe down. Because unless you know the fucking backstory about all this shit, then I don't think you should talk about it, you know?
Nah, take your shots. I'm here for it. I don't really care.
Well, eventually it will get covered. Their thing is like we want more like national coverage. Do you think Pete Thamel is going to come to any of these?
You want some national coverage? Sign another person who's going through a trial. You want some national coverage?
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
You want good thing is,
but
you
no,
want
they will
you
never
want
come
good
to
national coverage. You want good national. Get an airport that like people can fly into. They don't have to fly to
International Airport.
Yeah, if you not internet. Whatever. I'm the fucking people from Mexico City aren't flying up to cover us. I just need a regional airport that people can fly into. That
Dude,
like
that's what we need. We need like an insane quarterback or running back. A lot of people would say it has to be a running back or something because they can't be a quarterback if they're from Mexico. But if we got like the best quarterback from like Monterrey Tech or something to transfer to Texas State, and then we had all this influx of like Mexican reporters asking questions, it was like the Wemby of Mexico. That would be so funny.
Could you imagine? I was just gonna say like somebody from Japan, like you get like the best Japanese wide receiver, and you're like, damn, like this is crazy.
Yeah, no, Jakob and Zimmel have been taking night classes to ask this guy questions on the podcast.
All of a sudden, we're indicted on a gambling ring.
Yep. What? I just told him a couple prop bets. I didn't tell him to place them.
I told him, hey, look, I bet 85 yards or under. He was at 84.
This is what I would do.
Yeah.
Tough. Thanks for squaring around, buddy.
Thanks, dude. It was a great time. Everything's going great, and we're closer and closer to the spring game.
Yes, and our road to 1,000 followers. I want 1,000 followers by the first official snap of the 2024 season. So follow us at Squarin Pod. If you're looking to advertise your business or company, hit us up on Twitter at Jakob Ryrod, at Andrew Zimmel _ at Squarin Pod too. So hit us up. Peace.
We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Better not come any closer.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.